Hey everybody, welcome back to Burnt Offerings. So today we're going to talk about we're running a full-on beef session. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a big untrimmed brisket in the main pit of our flagship, and then we're going to have a batch of homemade beef jerky riding along for the journey. And that's going to happen in the smoke box. So on the Recteq Flagship 1600, we're going to have that brisket sitting low and slow, and I'm going to be leaving it untrimmed so that we can take the advantage of all the fat has as it renders. And then later on, we're going to use the foil pan method with beef broth during the wrap to braise it and to tender it and to keep every slice juicy. Then we're going to cook it until that flat is probe tender, and then we're going to rest it so it eats like butter. Okay, and then at the same time up top and on the side, we're gonna be making beef jerky, and we're gonna be doing it out of chuck eye steak from Walmart. And then we got it marinated in Sweet Baby Ray's mango habanero wing sauce. Okay, and then we're also gonna be seasoning it with the Steak King sauce from Fire and Smoke Society, and we'll lay those strips out so that they can dry low and slow and soaking up the smoke until they hit that perfect bend and crack jerky texture. And to stack the flavor, we're not just going to be using the main pit. We've got the Recteq smoke box as attachment running for those cooler and slower cooks. And then we also have the portable smoker loaded with Western brand wood chips and also the Pit Boss competition blend pellets, just feeding it and to get that blue thin smoke. And so the brisket's taking the main heat, and then the jerky's riding the edges and the smoke box. And then everything in here is getting kissed by those layers of flavor. So, and as always on Burnt Offerings, we not just want to talk about what's happening into the meat. We also want to talk about what's God is doing inside of us. And so today's cook is a picture of how God works on those different parts of our lives at the same time. So that brisket needs that long, steady heat, and it needs that deep rest before it's ready. And then the jerky needs a lower, drying type of heat, and it slowly draws out the moisture so that what's left is a concentrated and strong. So we have the same fire, we have different needs, we have different timing. And so it reminds us that God knows exactly what kind of heat each of us needs. And so some seasons feel like that brisket, that it's long, that it's drawn out, and then you're wondering if anything is actually happening. And then other times it feels more like the jerky, right? It's slowly being stretched and dried so that your faith becomes more consecrated and concentrated and real. So in Philippians chapter 1, verse 6, Paul says, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion to the day of Jesus Christ." And so God isn't guessing with us, okay? He's not overcooking one part and forgetting the other. He knows where we need patience, right? And where we need refining. And he is faithful to finish what he started. And so as we get into this brisket settled in the pan with the beef broth, and we line up those jerky strips for that long haul, remember the same God who manages all this heat and timing out is the same God that manages the heat and the timing into your life. And so he's not wasting a single moment of the process. And so I want you to stick around for the rest of the episode, and by the end we'll slice into that brisket, and then we'll break out the jerky, and then we'll talk about what it looks like to trust God through the low and slow seasons of our life. All right, so we're going to take chuck eye, we're going to slice it thin, we're going to go against the grain just to get some jerky ready here. Just to get things going, we're going to slice as thin as possible because we want to make some jerky slices here. And so we're going to be using the Sweet Baby Ray's Mango Habanero seasoning, and then we're also going to use Steak King seasoning from Fire and Smoke Society. And so this way, we'll just get a nice first time doing jerky. I may be going too thick. I may be messing this whole thing up, but you know what? That's part of the process, right? Learning how to do it. I just know I like jerky, so hey, thick jerky ain't bad either. So we're going to cut through these two here. Really liking these knives that I got from Walmart, the Time and Table brand, like the cutting board we have as well. And that electric knife sharpener from Chef's Choice is really good too. 3-step process. It does a coarse sharp, then a fine sharpen, and then you polish it at the end. So it's been great. Just turn it on and get it done before you start to cook. It's pretty good. All right. So I've got a nice steel bowl here that we're going to use to put it all in. So as we get the meat, just toss that in there. We'll toss that in a second. So yeah, the smoke box that we got from Recteq, really excited about that, man. I got it on sale. It's usually $300, got it for like $270. And then we got the pizza oven. I can't wait to use that too. Really nice looking stainless steel on top, and just sits right on the bottom rack of the flagship. So far, excited about what Recteq has to offer. Their videos, their interactive videos are really good. They have some cooking recipes, but just like even the assembly video was just so easy to follow. And then even the way you put the smoke box on was so easy to put on. It was just basically moving the handle and moving the chimney, just taking them off, putting the smoke box on, and then putting the handle on the other end of the smoke box, and then putting the other end of the chimney on the back of the smoke box, which is really sweet. And so the idea of it is that you heat up the pit, the main pit, and then that residual smoke goes to the other side, and then that's what makes it lower. But we got the that smoke that we're going to use as well, and if it works well, we may not even have to turn on the manger pit. So we're going to do the wing sauce here, the mango habanero wing sauce. Just load that up here. And this is kind of spicy, so we'll see how that goes there. Just get a good heaping amount of that. And I'm gonna mix with my left hand so I can use my dominant right hand to put on the Steak King. So if you notice, you got a good mix there. Yeah, I can smell it, man. Oh yeah, that's gonna be good. And we're gonna let this just marinate while we start to do the brisket in the flagship. So this is a Steak King by Fire and Smoke Society. Just going to keep mixing that in here, making sure we can. This should be really good. A lot of marinades. I'm going to put a lot of seasoning on there to mix it up too. I like Fire and Smoke Society, just like Dano's seasoning. They don't put too much salt. They put just enough so you don't have to add salt and pepper. But Steak King is my favorite, one of my favorite ones for beef. They have Steak King, they have Steak Perfect, I think, and then they have the garlic buttery steak too, which is good. So, all right, so we're gonna let that marinade for a bit. Put one more sprinkle of that on there. Move that up there, and so we got strips. So once we marinate this pretty much overnight, we'll go ahead and get everything onto the smoke box. Once we'll probably be like in the wrap phase of the brisket at that point. So, all right, see you in a bit. All right, so we're gonna go fat cap down when we put it on. So we're gonna start this brisket with fat cat up to get it going, and we're just gonna be simple. We're gonna use prime steak seasoning by Fire and Smoke Society, but we're gonna use just some grapeseed oil to be the binder. We're not doing a double binder or anything on this one, so I'm just gonna put some oil on here, just to make sure we get that all over so we can get it going. It's a little cold out here, so it's starting to like gel up a little bit. Yeah. So now we got the prime seasoning. We're generously going to put this on here. Generously. This is a good seasoning. It's good for prime rib. I haven't tried it on a brisket. It's the first time I'm trying it on a brisket. I'm assuming it's going to be phenomenal as well on this thing. Remember, we're not trimming it down. We're going to put a fat cap down. But this should come out really, really good. Just want to get everything there. And you can smell just the great seasoning. Oh man, it smells so good. You know, just generously put it on there. Back closer. I'm gonna have to sweep after this. We'll pat some down in there as well. I want to get the sides, and we'll use the excess on the board too to get the rest of the sides in and stuff. We'll touch it up and everything too. This is a big one, 10-pounder, I think. Kroger had it on sale. Actually, right now, some parts of the country, Kroger, from what I understand, has like a crazy sale on brisket, like $2.99 a pound. I didn't see that, but who knows? Still not $5.99 a pound is not that crazy. And this is actually a good piece of meat too. I mean, it's not. It's a beautiful looking one. It is right out the package. I didn't trim it or anything. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. It smells so good. And of course, we're going to use our RFX thermometers and the hub to make sure we're doing good. All right. Let's pat that all down there. All right, let's get those thermometers. So you want to put one in here, and then you put one on the other end here. Make sure. All right, good. We're in. All right, let's get this on the smoker. All right, the brisket is on. We're ready to go. But I want to show you how the smoke it works before we get going here. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to light this, and then we're going to get that smoke tube going. So make sure that we're good. I'm going to put the smoke tube in first. And so we have that little thermometer hole here. So right there should be good. Good placement. It's going to get a lot of smoke. So I want to get it to also so it's going over there to the smoke box too. So we got kind of a busy evening ahead. So I'm going to wrap the brisket at around the 150 mark. But look, it's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. You see we got smoke going into with this. We're going to do our jerky. But look at this bad boy. Oh, man, that looks so good. All right, let's wrap it up in the foil pan and put it back in. Let's check in our jerky. Oh, yeah, it's looking good. Only a couple pieces fell. Not bad. All right, check out that brisket. I'm going to add a little bit more beef broth. And after we add the beef broth, we're going to wrap it up with some foil. Get it ready to go back in. If you hear Daisy barking in the background, it's because she sees all the other dogs. They're all going out. So this is the tallow and the beef broth together, just like we normally do our brisket. But you know the Rob's method. But then we use the heavy-duty foil from Walmart, the heavy-duty aluminum foil, the wide roll. That's the 18-inch roll. Really love the foil pan method. I don't think I'm ever going to switch from the foil pan method. It works too well. So yes, we'll put it over on the pan here. Now, one thing we're going to do, we start tightening it in the back. But before we go any further, we fold it up and we start removing the probes because we're going to put the probes in on top of the foil, just to make sure the foil pan isn't blocking the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth signal. So wrap it up really good. Down there. Let's pop it back in. So we middle racked it still because now we have time for it to cook. We just need to get it wrapped. So we wrapped it a little bit early at 150, 155 degrees, but then we're going to leave it in here for a while. So I'm going to let it go and let the smoker continue to work on the jerky there. So we shut off the smoker remotely at around 200 degrees or so. So we're going to take the thermometers out. We let it rest for quite a bit. And we're going to just do a quick reveal here. Oh, yeah, that looks beautiful. Hold on, let's get that out a little more so you can see it. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. All right, so we're going to cut through it on the cutting board real quick. So looking at the jerky, it came out really good. A little spicy, but man, for the first attempt, pretty good jerky. All right, let's take that money shot right down the middle here. This is the coolest I've ever cut a brisket. So let's see how it does here. Remember, it's untrimmed. So let's see how our smoke ring looks. Let's open that up. Oh, yeah. That came out really good. Look at that. Wow. All right, welcome back to Burnt Offerings. We are at the end of a long, smoky day, and it was worth every minute. So the brisket came out just how we'd hoped. That foil pan with the beef broth gave us that tender, juicy flat and that rich, buttery point. And the bark held up, the slices bent without breaking, and every bite carries that deep smoke that we stacked with the Flagship and the smoke box and the portable smoker. And so this beef jerky made from the chuck eye, it's soaked in the Sweet Baby Ray's mango habanero wing sauce, and that hit with the Steak King. It had that perfect bend and crack. And so it was chewy in the right way. It was concentrated beef flavor and just enough sweet heat on the back end of it to keep you reaching for another piece of it. So two totally different outcomes from the same cook. One cut that needed to be wrapped and braised and rested, and another that needed to be dried out and then toughened up and just a little bit in order to become what it was meant to be. And so as I look at the board of meat, I'm reminded of how God works with us. So that brisket needed time under steady heat and then a season where it was wrapped up and then left alone in that foil pan with the broth. And then it looked like nothing was happening, but on the inside, everything was changing. So the tough fibers were breaking down, and what was once tight and resistant became tender. And so the jerky needed that opposite touch, okay? It needed slow drying, and it had to lose moisture to gain shelf life and strength. And so it was trimmed down, it was laid out, and it was exposed to low heat for hours until what was once left smaller, but now concentrated and then also resilient. So some of us are in a brisket season of our life. It feels like you've been under like pressure, so much pressure, and it's like been forever, and now God has you wrapped, right? And you can't see much progress, but He's working deep inside. He's softening the things which you can't fix on your own. Others are in a jerky season, so God is allowing you to be stretched and pared back and dried out in some areas where so your faith can become more durable and that you can be focused. So in 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 and 7, Peter writes, "Now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief and all kinds of trials, and these have become so that you can be proven, and that the genuineness of your faith, of the greater worth than gold, may result in praise and in glory and in honor when Jesus Christ is revealed." So just like this cook, the trials aren't random. The heat, the timing, the wrapping, the drying, God uses all of it to prove and refine our faith so that in the end our lives point back to to Jesus. So as we enjoy this brisket and we enjoy this jerky, let it be a reminder that God knows exactly what kind of heat that you're under. He knows how long you need to stay there, and he has no intention of wasting your pain and your waiting and your questions. And so thank you for hanging out with me on Burnt Offerings. And if this episode fed your stomach and your soul, please hit that like and subscribe button and share it with someone today. Someone who needs a little smoke and a little hope. So until next time, keep the smoke clean, keep your heart soft, and remember, God does some of his best work low and slow.